seat rankings. Lists of coaches in trouble could be long as Black Monday in years. We're mere days away from Black Monday, and teams increasingly tend to get a jump on shopping for new coaches, opting for Black Sunday night instead. And this year could be especially dark. The Giants are weeks into their search to replace Ben McAdoo. Bruce Arians spent Tuesday denying a report he's already got one foot out the door in Arizona, while Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was busy claiming Jason Garrett's job is safe. And Marvin Lewis. Sigh. Here's the final installment of our weekly hot seat rankings. 1. Marvin Lewis, Cincinnati Bengals. It's been a nice run, especially by Cincy standards, with 7 playoff appearances in Lewis' 15 seasons at the helm. But he's infamously gone 0-7 in postseason and hasn't even gotten there lately as he winds up his second consecutive sub-500 campaign. With no contract for 2018 and the team in need of a new voice, it's high time Lewis explored his free agent options. Last week, 1-2. Chuck Pagano, Indianapolis Colts. Probably a foregone conclusion he's a goner. But Saturday's loss in Baltimore was the latest example of an undermanned club fighting for 60 minutes against a superior opponent. If this is how it ends, Pagano can be proud of his tenure and confident he'll land on someone's staff in short order. Last week, 3-3. John Fox, Chicago Bears. At least he managed to avoid being victimized by the winless Browns on Sunday. Almost surely Fox's final appearance at Soldier Field as coach of the home team. Though Chicago is a talented team that appears to be turning the corner, Fox almost surely won't be around when that turn signal clicks off after going 14-33. Last week, 2-4. Jim Caldwell, Detroit Lions. News of his off-season extension was officially a distant memory after Sunday's faceplant against the hapless Bengals knocked Detroit from playoff contention. Could GM Bob Quinn be turning his eyes to replacements with his former employer, the New England Patriots? Last week, 8-5. Dirk Koetter, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In Sunday's loss, QB Jameis Winston yet again made a crucial mistake and then let his immaturity get the best of him. Not a good reflection on Koetter, whose team is 2-10 when Winston starts. At least Koetter was honest when admitting talk about his job security has been a distraction. Last week, 4-6. Vance Joseph, Denver Broncos. Not only has his team vastly underachieved, it hasn't been competitive. 8 of Denver's 10 losses have been by 10 or more points. And the player's obvious disinterest as Brock Osweiler was trying to light a fire on the sidelines wasn't a good look. Of course, given what Joseph was given to work with under center, it seems unfair to make a rookie coach the fall guy. Last week, 5-7. Hugh Jackson, Cleveland Browns. Yes, ownership said he'd return for a third season after it opted to clean out the front office earlier this month. But if Jackson wants to potentially take his 130 record back to, say, Cincinnati, would the organization and new GM John Dorsey fight all that hard to keep him? Last week, unranked 8. Jay Gruden, Washington Redskins. Similar to Jackson, a potential return to the Bengals for Gruden has the rumor mill in overdrive. Gruden's done a nice job keeping the Skins hovering near .500 given they've lost nearly a dozen starters to injury and seem no closer to resolving the years-long Kirk Cousins distraction. It would be understandable if the stability of Andy Dalton seemed appealing by comparison. Last week, 6-9. Mike Mularkey, Tennessee Titans. With QB Marcus Mariota's development thrown into reverse and a loaded team desperately trying to clinch a playoff spot that once seemed inevitable, there could be trouble if the Jags thump the Titans in Nashville on Sunday. Last week, 7-10. Bill O'Brien, Houston Texans. Amazingly, he's been forced to spend the past few weeks answering questions about his job security and desire to remain with the team. How quickly some forget how great Houston looked earlier this season, when O'Brien actually had a legitimate quarterback, since injured Deshaun Watson, running his offense. If O'Brien and the Texans part ways, expect him to instantly become the hottest candidate on the coaching market. Last week, unranked 11. Todd Bowles, New York Jets. He's not interested in discussing his future. And by most accounts, Bowles should be just fine, given how the Jets, 5-10, have far exceeded most preseason prognostications. But speculation that he could be a fit for the Cardinals if Arians leaves has already begun. Last week, unranked, Week 15 rankings, Marvin Lewis, Week 14 rankings, Marvin Lewis, Week 13 rankings, Hugh Jackson, Week 12 rankings, Ben McAdoo, Week 11 rankings, Hugh Jackson, Week 10 rankings, Ben McAdoo, Week 9 rankings, Ben McAdoo, Week 8 rankings, Hugh Jackson, Week 7 rankings, Chuck Pagano, Week 6 rankings, Hugh Jackson, Week 5 rankings, Hugh Jackson, Week 4 rankings, Hugh Jackson, Week 3 rankings, Marvin Lewis, Week 2 rankings, Marvin Lewis, Week 1 rankings, Chuck Pagano. Follow Nate Davis on Twitter @ByNateDavisPhotos, NFL Power Rankings heading into Week 17.